Hi lovely friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we are sewing again as usual, and I am hacking another pattern as usual because you all know I love hacking and I always want you to get the most out of all of our Ellie and Mac patterns. Today I am working on something that I am super excited about. I love spring and I love spring colors, and I'm using these beautiful colors here to create a color block top. Now I know that we offer some color block tops already, like the Autumn Spice and some hoodies and the Tuesday morning and all that sort of stuff. But one of my favorite patterns is the Discover Tee, which is also color blocked, but it's only color block at the top, and the top color block, it's a little bit curved. Well, I kind of wanted to hack it because I kind of wanted to show you how easy it would be to kind of alter that a little bit. So the first hack that I'm doing today is I'm going to make the Discover Tee have a straight line. So if you just want to color block it and have a straight instead of a curve, we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do that. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second line. So I'm going to do a color block so I can use 3 different fabrics. Now the really fun part about this is that you can do this to this top and use scrap fabrics. So sometimes you want to use the pattern that you love, but you don't have enough fabric to, use for the whole pattern, and you want to color block and you're like, well, this pattern doesn't color block. You can do it. You can color block it, and I'm going to show you how. It's super easy. Let's get started. All right, we're jumping right in because you all know that's what I like to do. So I've got my front bodice, I've got my back bodice, and I just put them on my top, and I put it right at the edge where it's supposed to be. And now usually that would curve, like I said, but we're gonna go straight. So all we're doing literally is we're just gonna go right straight out from that edge right here. I'm gonna go straight out, and the same for our top, our other bodice, straight out. Just make sure that you're keeping the ruler straight as you're doing that. One way that I like to be sure that my ruler is straight, using like your cutting mat or something like that to make sure that the ruler is it's straight at the edge. I am using like that millimeter mark right here to keep me right on straight because I'm a little bit off, but you could move your fabric obviously and keep it straight. Make sure this is straight and this is straight, and then we're just gonna cut. And then the rest is going to be cut just the same for the top bodice. Y'all, I just grabbed my blade with my finger and I cut myself. I'm sorry if you're squirmish. I'm gonna go put a band-aid on. We'll be back to keep cutting. All bandaged up. Don't be like me and grab your blade, your rotary cutter by the blade. That's what the handle is for. I'm gonna use the same color for my sleeves, and my sleeves are gonna stay just the same because the shape of the arm side did not change. And the neckband also. The neckband is also going to be the same color. Now for the middle part. All right, so I'm gonna lay it out, and we're gonna cut 2 of these because we want the front and the back, and we have one big middle piece. So you gotta think about, first of all, this is my pattern piece, and the first thing we need to think about is the fact that we want a straight at the top. We want it to be straight because we already made this one straight, so you wanna make sure that your bodice top is straight as well. So we're gonna keep going straight instead of, and I have a line here which is really great. So instead of turning, we're gonna go straight out first, like so, and then we're gonna go down straight as well. Okay, so what I want to do first though is I want to see where I want to color block. How wide do I want this strip? So I'm thinking somewhere like pretty much the middle is where I want it. So all I'm going to do to my pattern is fold it right where I want that color block to be. And that's where I'm going to cut. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bottom half for my next cut. Now we need to add seam allowance, 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here, or 1/4 inch, however much you want to add to it. So I am going to add 1/4 inch. So when I cut this, I'm going to add a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the bottom. I think this ruler is really weird. Let's use this one so I know exactly 1/4 inch. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm adding that 1/4 inch, and I'm going to do that for the front and the back, obviously. So now I just got to go hold this down because this is the line right here, and I'm going to go follow that line of my top and go straight down. And there is my middle piece, and I gotta cut 2 of them because I need a front and a back. Ooh, I hope this is long enough. That would be perfect. Let's see. How perfect did that turn out? Oh my word. I couldn't have gotten it any more perfect if I tried, which I didn't. And I want to make sure this is straight because I didn't measure. I just went with what I already had. Make sure that cut is straight. And then keep going all the way down. And then I need to add my allowance at the bottom. And that's my middle piece. So I've got my 2 middles. Now I need my bottom piece, which will just be this plus a seam allowance. If you're wondering, I am using French terry rayon for this. I love the weight of French terry rayon. It's very light, but also like soft, and I just love it. Look, it's right here. I gotta make sure I do it at the right spot. Right here is where I got it. And we're going to cut, leaving that 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top. Alright, now everything's cut out, and now it's just about putting it together, and this is like my favorite part actually. It's like putting a puzzle together. So we'll start by, I like to build my top first. So we'll grab our bodice and we just start stacking them on top of each other, basically, right sides together. And because I have clips, I can go ahead and do both of them at the same time, both my layers. So this one and that one, I'm gonna go ahead and pin and clip them and then go sew them up right sides together, and for the front and the back. Make sure that you place the correct edge together, like the bottom, the middle with the middle, the bottom with the bottom, or they're not gonna fit correctly. Now there are 2 things that you can do to make this top or whatever you're sewing really look good. And one of them is to always steam your seam. That gives it a very nice look. Sometimes the sewing machine or whatever may stretch the fabric, and giving it a good steam will help. And another thing is top stitching your seams. With some things I don't top stitch, but with other ones I like to top stitch, and this being like a sporty kind of top stitching just gives it that like really, really good look. Now, I am going to be using a cover stitch, which is a machine that is especially made for top stitching. But if you don't have a cover stitch, no worries. you can use a double needle or any kind of stretch stitch that's going to hold. What basically you're doing is holding the seam down. So I'm going to go top stitch it right along that seam, and I'm going to do that for both. And you don't have to do this. You can just steam it and it looks really good, and not top stitch it, and that's fine. A lot of times I don't even top stitch, so it really is up to you and what look you're going for. After I'm done top stitching, I'm also going to prep my neckband. So let's go ahead and do that now. I like to grab my neckband and fold it wrong sides together to give it a memory crease right here. So that's what I'm gonna do. It just makes it a lot easier when you're going to go ahead and sew it. Then you open it up and right sides together, you're gonna sew that short raw edge. The next step we're gonna do after we top stitch, or if you're not top stitching, this would be your next step, would be to grab your front and your back and match those shoulder seams and sew. So I'm gonna do all these steps at the same time. Alright, next we can go ahead and attach our sleeves by opening up that arm side and grabbing our sleeve. And when I cut my sleeve, I did a little like notch up so I knew exactly where my middle is. But if you didn't do that, you can just mark your half right here, because you're gonna open this up and you're gonna place it right sides together, and you're gonna put that half point right at the shoulder seam. And then right sides together, you're gonna go down one side and then down the other, matching those raw edges right sides together, and you're gonna sew that, and you're gonna do that for both sleeves. Now the really good thing about using clips is that I can continue and do on my next step, which will be attaching my neckband. I'm gonna match up the seams and go to the back and go to the front and mark them, because those are gonna be my halves. And then once I have my front and my back marked, I'm gonna go ahead and match them up and go to my sides. My shoulders are not my sides, so you gotta make sure that you match up those front and back and go to the sides, because it's a little bit off. And if you don't do that, you're gonna have a messed up neckband. And our neckband, we're gonna fold it wrong sides together over that crease that we created earlier. And we're also going to find our half. So go to the front. I do like a little notch right here. It doesn't mess up my, once I sew it on, it's like less than my seam allowance, so it's okay. And then match up the front and back and go to the sides. And then right sides together, we're just matching those same points that we created on our neckband to our neck. And then we're gonna go sew. After we sew our after we sew our neckband and our sleeves on, we just have to sew our sides and hem, and we'll be done. Time for side seams. Now we just match up those sides and make sure that you line up your color blocking areas together. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to fold in the hems and hem my bottom of my bodice and my sleeves, and we'll be done. All right, friends, we are finished with our top. How cute did this turn out? I think it turned out super cute. I love the color blocking. I love the colors. I think it's adorable. Please comment below and let me know what you think. Subscribe if you haven't so you never miss any of our tutorials. Come find us on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.